Coming up on American Black Journal, we're going to talk with the granddaughter of African-American composer William Grant Still, whose opera Highway 1 USA is playing at the Detroit Opera House. Plus, we'll get the details on Detroit Public Theater's unique take on a holiday cabaret. So don't go anywhere. American Black Journal starts right now.
Across our Masco family of companies, our goal is to deliver better living possibilities and make positive changes in the neighborhoods where we live, work, and do business. Masco, a Michigan company since 1929. Support also provided by the Cynthia and Elsa Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit PBS.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit PBS. Through our giving, we are committed to meeting the needs of the communities we serve statewide to help ensure a bright and thriving future for all. Learn more at dtefoundation.com.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm your host, Stephen Henderson. Detroit Opera has opened its new season with a double bill titled Highways and Valleys, Two American Love Stories. The production includes the works of two composers, Jewish emigre Kurt Weill and William Grant Still, who is often referred to as the Dean of African American music. Weill's opera is called Down in the Valley, and Still's work is named Highway 1 USA. Both works combine the heart of American folk music with opera. Here's a clip from the LA Opera's production of William Grant Still's piece, followed by my conversation with his granddaughter, Celeste Headley. Celeste Headley, great to see you, and welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no, this is a really great occasion to talk about, of course, William Grant Still and the opera that's going to be performed here at the opening of our opera season. But I have to say, I didn't know of your personal connection to this, and so. That's kind of an extra delight for this interview. So let's start there. William Grant Still, who was he and who is he to you?
Well, I'll answer the second one first, which is he's my grandfather. And was my favorite person in the whole world. I actually didn't realize he was famous until he passed away. I just thought he was the world's greatest grandfather. But to the world, he was, of course, the Dean of African American composers.
Yes.
And the reason he's called the Dean is because if you check out the number of firsts, the first, Black composer to do this, the first Black, it's long. It's a long list. So he opened a lot of doors in classical music, not just for Black composers, but any composers of color.
Yeah. And let's talk about this particular piece. Highway 1 USA and the message that it is trying to get across to us. And let's talk about that message in 2025 America. Of course, this is written much longer ago in a different era in America, but maybe not in such a different America.
No, I mean, if you think about it, I think he began composition on this piece in 1941.
Okay.
Someone's going to correct me on that if I'm wrong. But if you think about what was happening at that time in the world, not all that far removed from the Great Depression. He himself served during World War I. They were, of course, the world was again embroiled in another conflict. But in terms for him, there was a lot going on in the nation as well. I mean, racially, it was a very fraught time. When he came back for World War I, he was one of the many Black soldiers who encountered more rage and violence if they were wearing the uniform, right?
Yeah.
So here comes another world war in which Black soldiers are being asked to serve and knowing full well that they would not be greeted by a grateful nation. So there was all this turmoil happening economically, obviously militarily, but also racially as well. He was also personally in an odd place because he had gone through a very tumultuous and unhappy first marriage. It was not until he fell in love. He remained married, but it wasn't until he fell in love with my grandmother and decided to get married in 1939. And she said, "You need to get divorced."
How about we take care of that first?
So she had run off. His first wife had run off to Canada with another man years before, but he had gone through this dramatic, not very, relatively rancorous divorce as well. So he's coming out of this personal romantic turmoil as well, which you also see reflected in this opera.
The imagery and just in the title, I think is important too. Highway 1. This is a nation that is built on the backs of highways and comes up around the idea of travel, of the ability to sort of start your life in one place and maybe conclude it in another. Talk about the importance of that in the story here. This great American sort of iconography of the highway and travel.
It's interesting you should say that. My grandfather loved to drive, and he drove all across. When he was getting his honorary doctorate at Oberlin, he drove all the way from Los Angeles to Oberlin, Ohio. He was also not allowed. They weren't allowed to stay at any hotels.
Right.
They couldn't stay at any Black hotels because he was Black. They couldn't stay at white hotels. We couldn't stay at Black hotels because his wife was Jewish. Couldn't stay at white hotels because he, of course, was Black. So the photos of him at Oberlin at the festivities, he looks exhausted. But he drove a lot. He was also a leadfoot. He was an inveterate speeder. Got a speeding ticket coming back from Tijuana on his wedding night and ended up in jail. So he loved the highway anyway. But there is this sense, especially in terms of this opera, there is this sense of what we pass by so carelessly when we're on the highway, right? The lives that are occurring in these towns that we just zip through. The highway can, a highway is a lot of things, right? It can bring business to a community. It means access and mobility, but also it allows you to zip right by these human dramas that are happening, in this case, literally right on the side of the road. And again, this is one of those things where whomever the director, the interpreter of this opera can choose which one of these threads to pull out.
Yeah.
I think this is a really important one. And as you say, it's the name of the opera for good reason, right? Like the highways are both a tremendous boon to communities, but they also can destroy. African Americans. They can destroy neighborhoods. I mean, who knows that better than the people of Detroit?
Yes.
That in making way for a highway, there's a lot of destruction. Yeah. So there's all kinds of things that are sort of wrapped up in just that word highway.
Yeah. The twin performance, I guess, here will be of Anthony Wiles Kurt Wiles down in the valley. Talk about that opera and the pairing of these two.
It's interesting. I have to assume, grandfather originally wrote this and it was premiered at a university. And in universities, of course, one-act operas aren't always paired with another opera,
Right.
right?
Right.
Sometimes they're alone, but for the most part, in the professional field, as you and I know, they make a full evening about it by pairing it with something else, some other one-act opera. And I think it's interesting that they've chosen Burl Ives from Down in the Valley, because there's this connection to the folk, right? There's this connection to the people in Down in the Valley. There's this connection to it's accessible music. This is not opera that is intended to impress you. It's intended to make you feel resonance, to make you feel as though you're seen on stage. I think that's true of both operas, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I think both of these operas were written very much with the audience in mind. These are, some high, I'm not trying to put down any opera. They're all great. But
it can be obscure.
Right. These aren't written as a pure expression of somebody's art or, to impress a music critic. Both of these operas were very much written for each of those people sitting in the seats and intended to reach you, to touch you, to speak to you, to make you feel seen.
Yeah.
And so I think it's actually a pretty brilliant pairing. That's why.
And the storytelling aspect of both of those is also very key to not only opera, but of course the African American tradition of messaging through powerful story. I think there's something important about that in both of these as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the story is even more important in a one-act opera than in a full length, right?
You better get it right.
I can't remember which author said it, but he wrote a letter and said this letter would be shorter, but I didn't have enough time, right? So, I mean, Grandfather was never Mahler. He was never going to write anything that was hours and hours and hours long. But it's so much harder to in a one-act opera because you need to care about those characters immediately when that curtain goes up. And the story needs to grip you immediately. And if it has a message, like both of these have, that message needs to be clear. There can't be ambiguous storytelling. It all needs to feed into the story. I remember one of my editors used to say that in journalism, the story's like a shark. It has to keep moving forward or it dies. Yeah. And I feel the same way, especially about these two operas. Like they keep moving forward. They are impelled forward, driven to that final note. I think in both of these operas, one of the things that makes them so beautifully paired is that in both of these operas, even though the subject matter is serious,
yes,
the stakes are high, obviously life or death, but there's also, I don't feel anxious. You know what I mean? I don't feel terrified, I guess. This isn't making my head hurt in ways that sometimes other operas can.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think so. I mean, think about the differences, the just incredible differences between the two composers, between Kurt Weill and William Grant Still. They could not be more different. At the same time, think about the similarities. These are two composers who had a strong background in popular music, who were never snobby about that label classical music, right? Yeah. They felt that classical music was as much belonged to the people in the penny seats as it did to the people in the loge. So these are two people who kept the music in such a way that it had a landscape, right? It has it gives you respite and then takes you up and then takes you down. And it moves you in such a way that I don't feel in either of these pieces that I'm ever track. You know what I mean? I'm not stuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
without a breath. I guess that's the thing about these operas, both breathe. They give you some breath.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great way to end the interview and the stories about your grandfather, Celeste Headley. It was really, really great to have you here with us on American Black Journal. Thanks for joining.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Detroit Public Theater's Holiday Cabaret is back by popular demand. The seasonal celebration is becoming a holiday tradition here in Detroit. The theater describes it as a production filled with music, laughter, and a whole lot of sass. Here to tell us more is one of the performers, Lulu Fall. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you for having me.
I love that description. Music, laughter, and a lot of sass. So tell us about this year's cabaret.
So my first time attending Holiday Cabaret was 2 years ago, and I believe this is their third year doing it. So I'm happy to hear that it's back by popular demand. And a Holiday Cabaret, this year it's going to feature 5 performers. What I love about this particular holiday performance is that this performance, it's geared towards the personal style of each of us as individuals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely scripted to a certain degree because the last thing that you want is for me to go on stage without a script.
That doesn't work.
But it's scripted to some degree, but for the most part, there's a lot of individuality that is weaved into the style and the performance. So it's a very individualized experience.
So for you, what does that mean?
That means that there's going to be a lot of sarcasm coming from me.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, sarcasm with love.
Yeah.
With love, of course.
Yeah. So, but the holiday aspect of it, how does that come into play?
I think that that's a great question. And I actually was thinking about this a lot this morning. One thing, in my opinion, that sets Detroit Public Theater's Holiday Cabaret apart from just the average holiday performance or experience is that for the most part, a lot of these holiday productions are essentially unified in one singular emotion, joy or peace, etc., which are all very important things. But in actuality, not everyone experiences joy and peace when it comes to the holidays.
Yeah.
And so what I love about this particular production is that it kind of runs the gamut of emotions while also providing generally an uplifting and sassy experience.
Yeah. So that range of emotions, talk about some of the others that kind of get acknowledgement here.
Yeah. So personally, again, I tend to approach the holidays in a very sarcastic manner. I am not a Grinch by any means, but I am not necessarily the biggest holiday person.
Okay.
So I tend to tack on the sarcasm because that is what makes me feel cozy.
You feel, right?
Yeah. And then there's definitely another cast member who is a walking Christmas tree. She just loves absolutely all things related to the holidays. And then, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have folks who approach the holidays in a saddened, lonely manner.
It could be an anxious time.
Absolutely. Especially with us, coming out of COVID over these past few years. So I love that Detroit Public Theater, they're able to kind of shake up the snow globe in a sense by weaving this beautiful experience that runs the gamut of emotions, but without particularly dampening the experience. If anything, it makes it that much more real because everyone, every household, every individual has their own experience. Own And that's what makes it real. And I believe that is probably one of the major reasons why Holiday Cabaret is backed by popular demand.
Yeah. How does this kind of work fit into your work? I mean, cabarets are not the most popular things around. I mean, they kind of come and go, but I mean, they certainly had a bigger time in the past, I think, than they do now. But how does that feel as a performer to be part of something like this?
Again, a great question.
Yeah.
Well, I am a singer, songwriter. I'm a Broadway and TV actor. And I'm also the executive director of Cabaret 313, which is a 13-year-old nonprofit here in Detroit. So it is a huge part of what I do. From the executive director standpoint, I essentially run a nonprofit that is all about just educating the masses when it comes to the intimate art form and style of cabaret. That it doesn't necessarily have to be, music of the 40s and 50s. It's all about creating that personalized connection between the artist and the audience through song and through storytelling. Now, on the flip side, as a performer, as a singer, songwriter, and actor, that's what I do on stage. Is I make sure that I provide some sense of connectivity between my character and the audience, between myself and the audience, and the music that I perform, and the stories that I tell within the music and outside of the music. So it's a huge part of what I do.
Yeah. I'm not sure that if you're in the audience for a cabaret, that you're always aware of the personal, I guess, investment and shaping, really, that is going on with the performers, right? I think, and I'm speaking about myself, I think you sit there thinking, this is a performance like any other performance on stage. It was scripted somehow. Someone else wrote this.
For sure.
But I mean, it certainly sounds like there's a lot more personal, again, investment in how you do this and what you do in these performances.
For sure. And that's the beauty of it. And that's, again, what I believe is one of the major driving forces in holiday cabaret being back by popular demand is the fact that, from the audience perspective, it's fun. It evokes all of these, emotions and experiences, but it also touches you very deeply because of that real aspect in there. And as a multidisciplinary artist, I believe that the most profound artists out there, they are the ones who are able to kind of cut through and pierce the hearts and souls of audience members and viewers, particularly because there's always going to be some sense, some ounce of truth from the artist into the piece. And I think that's what we do as artists. That's part of our duties.
Wow. I would imagine there's a lot of energy that you get from the other performers and what they're doing and what they're putting into their performances, right? Because it is so personal.
Absolutely.
It's probably a little different from a play or an opera or some other kind of performance.
Yeah, it is a little bit different. But I will say what ties all of these different types of artistic experiences together is that there has to be a sense of trust on stage. What's, in my opinion and in my experience, what's the most palpable is the things that are unseen, the things that are not said out loud. It's that energy, that symbiotic energy that you have to have with your castmates, and that is where that magic tends to form. Well,
congratulations on the work, and thanks for joining us on American Black Journal.
Thank you for having me.
That is going to do it for us this week. You can find out more about our guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org, and you can connect with us anytime on social media. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Across our Masco family of companies, our goal is to deliver better living possibilities and make positive changes in the neighborhoods where we live, work, and do business. Masco, a Michigan company since 1929. Support also provided by the Cynthia and Elsa Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit PBS.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit PBS. Through our giving, we are committed to meeting the needs of the communities we serve statewide to help ensure a bright and thriving future for all. Learn more at dtefoundation.com.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.